All right. We are here.
Hey, y'all.
Lampish crew.
How's
Going
everybody?
on?
Doing good. Today is a good day, a beautiful day outside.
Definitely is.
Yes,
I've been
yes, it
outside.
is.
I've been in the house the majority of the day, but it does feel good out there.
Oh yeah. I had to work out at the campus, so I've been in and out trying to get some fresh air.
Definitely. It's been a crazy day for me. I'm in the insurance world, so fourth quarter is crazy busy, but I always support. Again, ambitious with the shirt, join the fight,
I love
end
it.
up observance of which today again. Welcome to the Lampish podcast with purpose. Remember to share the podcast. You can live Facebook Live,
Can you hear me, Ambitious?
YouTube, and Twitch as well.
Okay. We was having a little trouble. Are you able to hear him, Ambitious?
No, it sounds weird.
Okay. So you sounding
Can
it
y'all hear me
sounds
now?
like
Yes.
yeah, we hear you now, but when you
Can
were
y'all hear me
talking, it was kind of, when you were talking, it was kind of going in and out. So what was you saying? You were going over.
Okay. Oh no, I was just basically saying.
Oh, and we lost him.
Well,
So-
I think what he was saying was welcome everyone to our show tonight. And remember to share and repost. And you can watch this live stream on our
www.lampistup.org.
lampinup.org. So so we're just welcoming everybody to our show tonight, saying hello and getting everything started.
All right. Yeah, and he was going over all of that. And so we getting started with the show as far as domestic violence. So the topic of the show is domestic violence. And we have two great guests. And we want to actually touch on something before we get started on a couple of things that happened today. Let me go over that. It's today we lost the HPD sergeant. So we want to take a moment to give our respects to Harold Preston. He is a 41-year-old veteran of the department, and he was preparing to actually retire this year. So that's just like horrible to think that you worked, that many years in the department, nothing's happened. And then the last year, he goes to respond to a domestic violence call. And unfortunately, he lost his life. Like I said, he's about to retire. So it's just a shame that things like that happen. So we want to give our respects and prayers out to him and his family and friends. And so this is part of what this is why this show is so important. And since Lloyd is kind of going in and out, I'm going to go ahead and start the introduction because we have two important guests here from Houston Area Women's Center. I'm going to bring them in right now. So here we go. It's our pleasure to introduce tonight's guest, Raquel. How do I say your last name, Raquel? Fatigue. I could have said that. I just had to make sure. Raquel Fatigue, who is marketing and communications coordinator and hospital accompaniment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm getting tongue twisted. Crisis counselor for the Houston Area Women's Center. Let's see. And then we also have Tiffany Gardner. She's the manager of the Children and Youth Services Department at the Houston Area Women's Center Shelter. So we want to really thank y'all for coming on during the month of October, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so thank y'all for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
All right. So you back, Lloyd?
Well, I mean, again, thank you for. Can y'all hear me? First of all, I'm having technical issues, I guess, in here. Can y'all hear me?
We hear
Okay,
you
great.
out though earlier.
Well, I appreciate. I know I didn't probably got on you two all's nerves this week. Been back and forth with the emails and everything. So I just want to thank you guys for having us. Houston Area Women's Center. We learned so much from you guys last year when we did our events. So we love working with you guys and for you guys to come on and to talk about the Houston Area Women's Center means a lot to us. So we'll jump in, ask a question here. So could you guys tell us a little bit about the Houston Area Women's Center and what options or resources are available for individuals who are involved in domestic partner violence?
Absolutely. So we have been around since 1977. We started with a small group of volunteers answering phones, and now we've grown to over 150 employees. Served almost 74,000 survivors and community members just in last year alone. So we've grown just a little bit, and we serve survivors of domestic and sexual violence in a lot of different ways. So there's crisis intervention services, so our hotline services, online chat, our shelter where there are 120 beds. We also do Safe Harbor program, which means if we don't have space in the shelter, and we can talk about that in a little bit, then we have the ability to house people in partner hotels. And then past that, so those are kind of the like immediate crisis intervention services. Past that, we also have housing services, legal advocacy, counseling, you name it, we kind of have it.
Awesome. Did you want to add anything to that, Tiffany?
No, I mean, Raquel really touched on, we have such a large umbrella of what we do at Hawk, both at the shelter and outside of the shelter. So we do like a lot of amazing things. So she kind of touched on the main stuff, but I think she covered that.
Okay, great. Well, I do have a good question for you because I know, Tiffany, we're working with you right now in regards to the pajama drive since you are over the the children portion of the shelter. Mm-hmm. So one of the questions we had, many of the individuals you serve come with families. How are the children being supported during these times?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a lot of people kind of maybe not think or forget that these women are, women that do have children and their mothers. So the shelter is a place that about half of our client list is kids. So with COVID and all of that happening, we've had to obviously adjust a little bit of how we are servicing our families. Obviously, we had to just cut down how many people we can obviously take into the shelter. And then a big thing that changed in terms of our department was learning how to navigate online learning. Since a lot of these kids go to school, this was the first time we ever had to create a space where we had parents drop off their kids with us for us to be able to supervise the school. So that was a new challenge for us. But, we've always had childcare for these families for, from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, so that these moms are able to essentially manage and take care of the things that they need to in order to, return back to the community. So what better way than to have, a facility that's able to take care of their kids. We have obviously childcare, but we also have a preschool on site. We have an on-site school. We have enrichment programming where we do after-school curriculum, which focuses on things for our kiddos to gain life skills and resources. Anger management for them, learning about my body, my space, good touch, bad touch. So we actually also we're creating an environment where they're able to really be comfortable in discussing, what they've come from and their trauma themselves. And, we're not just there like watching kids and doing ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. We are, helping them feel secure and safe and strong, to feel safe, to feel like they're leading their most authentic lives with us in the small time we have them, and hopefully giving them something they can go back out and use. So yeah, it's really great.
So I had a question also. How does the economy affect domestic violence? Does adverse circumstances like Hurricane Harvey and now COVID-19 increase domestic violence incidents? And what can we do to help?
Yeah, so anytime there's kind of a natural disaster, we've seen that domestic violence rates increase. Since all of the COVID-19 situation, the pandemic, our hotline calls have risen 40%. And that's because survivors are being isolated with their abusers in their homes. So even though, the safest thing might be to stay at home for some people, it's not the safest thing for all people. So, with Harvey and with the pandemic, everybody's just seeing a lot of different stressors of, job loss, home loss, and abusers are, I guess, more so at home than they normally would be. So that's kind of why we're seeing that pattern, and it's really unfortunate.
So like is it harder for women to leave if they're not financially secure in themselves? Like, why do some victims stay? Why is it so hard for them to get out of certain situations? And if we do see one of our friends or a family member or someone in a situation, how can we help as just a civilian, just to help aid them and get them resources like you all have?
Yeah, so I mean, the most dangerous time is when they are leaving. So that's a really difficult time. It is extremely difficult to get out there on your own if you've been isolated and don't have access to economic support, to support from your family and friends. And that's a lot of times what abusers do. They isolate the survivors, the victims, so that they can't leave them so easily and can't get out on their own. So it's really unfortunate, and that's what we focus on at the Women's Center is economic independence, so helping them build their lives so that they can stand up on their own 2 feet and be independent. And yeah, if you do see someone in that situation, just understand that is the most difficult time, and the most dangerous time is if they are planning to leave. And, a lot of times people don't plan to leave, and that's okay. And that's kind of where you have to meet them at, is wherever they're at in that situation, in that moment, just meet them there and support them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen on the website that, on your website and different sites that talks about domestic violence. So, and I'm not sure how much in the front lines or how much time have you spent dealing with not only women and children, but also men that experience domestic violence. Is there is it just very rare for, let's say, a man to come to a center like this or to reach out and say, hey, I'm going through something that I'm maybe they're embarrassed to talk about it, but does that actually happen, or have you had cases like that?
Yeah, for sure. So the statistics are it's 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men. So it is really common for men to experience this as well. I do think that they're less likely to maybe come forward. And especially, you think Houston Area Women's Center that we only serve women, but that's not the case. We do serve men as well. And the men are not housed in our residential campus, the shelter, because the residential campus is essentially just women and children, but we do have space for them in that Safe Harbor Hotel program I was talking to you about. So yeah, absolutely. We do have male clients.
Yeah. And I saw there was 4 or 5 types of domestic violence abuse. And so I was thinking, well, usually a man may not be getting the physical abuse. So would it be considered to be more so like the mental or verbal abuse or some other type of abuse?
Yeah, definitely. Spiritual, emotional, economic. It's possible, of course, for a female to, withhold earnings from a male and put them in that sort of situation. So yeah, there's absolutely in every way possible that a woman can be in this position, a man can also be in this position too.
And I just want to add too, we really do have a commitment to diversity at Hawk. We don't discriminate against, race, religion, sex, anything like that. We're a safe place for everybody and all. That's something we're trained to be advocates for everybody. So,
and everything's, of course, just to reiterate it, everything is confidential and private. So, the person that's coming to you wouldn't have to worry about someone else finding out and getting back to maybe the person that they're trying to get away from, correct?
Absolutely. And that's actually kind of why we implemented our chat as well. So through all of the pandemic, we're finding that since people are kind of trapped in their home with each other, it's easier for someone to hear you on the phone, obviously talking to, the Houston Area Women's Center. But less easy for them to find out if you're kind of online just chatting with an advocate. All of it's anonymous and completely confidential and 100% free, of course.
Gotcha. I have a question too, though. Another question, sorry. Mm-hmm. Are y'all ready for a question from our audience?
Yeah.
Tiffany and Raquel?
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. I noticed a couple of questions. One from Mr. Tony Rich. It says, what have you heard about women who have restraining orders but still deal with the abuser? Is this prevalent for people with mental health issues? So it's kind of like a two-part question, two questions.
Okay. So I'm not sure where the mental health issues part comes in.
I think that's probably a separate question.
Okay. So unfortunately, I mean, having a restraining order doesn't guarantee that the perpetrator is not going to come near you, right? That's what you hope, of course. But we've heard a lot of times that having a restraining order, the perpetrator still comes near the person who filed the restraining order. And when you file a restraining order, you have to put the address on there that they're not allowed to come to, right? So, which kind of seems silly. But yeah, we've heard that, and it's really unfortunate. And in terms of, is this prevalent for people with mental health issues? I don't know. I'm not sure. Can we ask Tony to specify more on that question a little bit?
Yeah, I'm asking him to resend that question and specify on there. And I'm thinking he's probably just talking about people with mental issues. Do you find that they come in and is this the demographic of people that have mental issues that are coming in? But I'll let him specify that on the next question.
Okay.
Let's see. There was another question by Gene Williams. I think y'all may have answered this one, but have you noticed an increase in intake during the pandemic?
Definitely. And you can speak to this also. We were kind of talking about it today. We can't take in as many people in the shelter right now just because we are following all the guidelines that we need to be as safe as possible. So we've been very full. And then this has spilled over into our safe harbor placements, so those hotel placements. And it's a lot. It's a lot more than we normally have. And so we have, luckily, amazing staff that have kind of stepped in to help us manage not only the people at the residential campus, the shelter, but also who are staying in the hotels as well.
And do y'all have sister or parent or brother, organizations that you, hey, go over here because they can help you better than us? Or how does that work? Yeah,
so we actually, our hotline kind of speaks with all the other agencies on probably like every 3 or 4 hours, I would say, just so we can all know who has availability. So if we don't have it, we know someone who might have space nearby, and we can also help the survivor get to that space nearby as well.
Yeah, and all of our women have case managers that they work with to basically get access to every single kind of resource you can think of as well. So it's constantly utilizing what exists and what's around us to be able to support them to,
so that sounds
into
like
the community.
Yeah, that sounds like a really strong support system. Like you said, y'all been around since 1977, which is that's a pretty good time. Yeah. 77 is a good year. So it looks like Mr. Tony Rich is clarifying on that question that we were asking earlier about mental illness. So he says, do you find people who have bipolar, as an example, who may be lonely and may find it difficult to find a partner to hang on to hang on too long?
I'm not really sure that I can speak to that. I think that would be maybe a question more for our counselors. And I don't know that I've seen anything necessarily that shows that to be a pattern.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. And I think too, it's what we really want to try to do is, not stigmatize what it means to be someone who's going through this, like this, domestic violence and sexual assault or any sort of intimate partner violence can happen to anybody, regardless of, whatever situation they're in. So I think, it's important that we sort of flip the thinking and the understanding that there's something that, our victims and survivors could do differently or think differently to not be in these scenarios. Because at the end of the day, it is the perpetrator who's doing what they're doing. And the only way to stop that is that the perpetrator just doesn't do it. So, it's never the fault or something different that our survivors could have done. It's an array of a life that was happened to a lot of people. So I think to just not automatically connect that, the staying or the leaving or the going is ever associated with a reason.
Mm-hmm. But we know that y'all are a place they can go to if in a situation like that. Okay. And I do have another one, but I'm gonna let Ambitious. And I think Ambitious has one, so let me let her go. Let me be a gentleman.
Oh no! I guess my next question is what are some signs that we should look for if you are dating, and are there red flags that you could see prior to actually experiencing a domestic violence situation? Are there red flags that women and men should look out for while dating?
It's hard to tell. Each perpetrator is different from the next perpetrator, and it's possible that, at the first, when you first started dating them, they seemed completely normal and were wonderful. And then as you get to know them, all these red flags come out. And then at that point, it's, too hard to leave. Or there might be red flags right at the get-go initially. And so it's hard to kind of, I guess, stigmatize the perpetrator into one box. But things you can definitely look out for would be intimidation, manipulation, isolation, being blamed, being threatened, of course, and obviously any sort of physical violence. And our website's a good resource if anyone feels like they might possibly be in a domestic violence situation and maybe they're not sure. We do have kind of like a checklist sort of that you can go through and ask yourself those questions.
That's true. On top of the website and the checklist, would you recommend actually asking or any questions that you would say, let me ask these questions to this person who I'm thinking could be or have signs of being an abuser? Would you recommend that, or would you rather them keep that to themselves and just go off this checklist and kind of be aware and observe?
I would say be aware and observe. I think anytime, I think that these questions would probably, you could assume, irritate and anger someone who's doing those things. So I think, our first priority is to make sure that the survivor is safe and is going to come out of the situation in a safe way. So I would not recommend asking those questions directly to an abuser.
Okay. I think I'm back on, y'all. I'm sorry. I've been in and out. Yeah. Y'all can hear me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I like the fact that, you guys are big on the actual survivors and not focusing on domestic violence, right? So the whole positive situation about that. I don't know if this question was answered because, again, I was going in and out. Like, what percentage of the children are housed at Houston Area Women's Center Shelter?
So right now, because our capacity is in half, about half our clients in the shelter right now are children. So if we have about 60 clients living in the shelter, half of that is kids.
Wow. And so that's why it leads us to a positive point here. That's why we're doing the pajama drive with LAMP Services. We want to make sure that every child, has a new set of pajamas. And so it's been a very resounding, the donations have been coming in because people want to help. So how can someone help Hawk, to assist the survivors?
Yeah, definitely. So I love the pajama drive. First of all, thank you all so much for doing that. And Tiffany and I were talking earlier, and it's just really wonderful because, these kids come out of these super dangerous, super intense situations, and they have to come to a shelter, and the shelter's not home. And so it's nice to be able to provide kind of items of comfort for them in these very strange times where they're living somewhere that's completely different. So thank you very much for writing those. So other ways and can help. So we have, obviously you can host events, kind of like what you're doing right now, community partner events and drives. It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, as you mentioned. So on the 29th, we're doing a giving day, and you can find information about that on our website and social media. Of course, follow us on social media and share anything you feel like sharing. We really appreciate that. And then Tiffany can talk about this too, but we are doing a fall festival on October 30th at the shelter. So in need of some costumes and stuff for that as well.
Yes, we're really excited about our fall festival.
What day is the fall festival?
It's October 30th. So basically it's just an opportunity to, again, like just bring a little bit of joy and normalization into a shelter environment. So we'll just be handing out Halloween costumes and doing some arts and crafts and trick-or-treating, and they'll get their brand new cozy pajamas that day. So these are different kinds of events we do throughout the year for our families in the shelter, focused around the season. So that's one that we luckily still get to have at the shelter, given everything going on. So we're really looking forward to it as well. And we had some costumes coming today, and we already had kids being like, "Oh, is that a Ninja Turtle? I want to be a Ninja Turtle." So it's really cute, and it's just exciting because kids are still going to be kids, and all this stuff just helps let them do that.
And I'm sorry, I missed the word we can drop the costumes and things off at.
Yes, so our location is at 1010 Watt Drive, the residential campus, the shelter, but that's like our main offices. We're technically closed right now, but we do have someone in the main office from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Mondays through Fridays, so they can be dropped off then.
Awesome.
And I will. We have an Amazon wish list too. That if you go to our website, I believe it's under urgent needs. I'm going to be updating the Amazon wish list with some of these costumes and just some things like shampoo, razors, conditioner, body wash, stuff that everyone kind of just needs when they're leaving a situation. So yeah, if anyone wants to find that, it's through our website, and so then you don't have to come drop it off. Amazon will just bring it to us.
Awesome.
Yeah, and with the pandemic going on, that's like probably the best way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So y'all's website is like the hub of all information, but we're going to make sure we share that on our social media platforms with Ambitious and the organizations that are connected to us. And of course, this is October. A lot of people only think of certain things during the month of October, like breast cancer awareness. But we, like I said, we're highlighting domestic violence, and not only want to highlight it during October, but we want to make sure that all year round, people are paying attention to this and that they're aware of this. So this show is so people can kind of learn about it. And we want to thank both of y'all for helping bringing the awareness to all of our audiences. And hopefully everybody can, if you have a situation like this, what would y'all recommend they do if they know somebody or are in that situation right now?
Yeah, so there's something called the 3 R's. So it's recognize that it's going on. Respond. So when you respond, you don't want to blame the survivor or ask questions that are going to make the survivor feel kind of victimized. You want to just listen and understand what they're going through. And then the last R is refer. So refer out to domestic violence agencies like ours or other ones in the area. So our hotline is 713-528-2121. And as I mentioned earlier, we also have advocates on our online chat as well.
So it's recognize, you said recognize, respond,
and refer.
And refer. Gotcha. We're gonna hashtag that. So
okay, I like it.
Do you have anything, Lloyd? Okay.
No, I was just gonna again thank everyone. Thank you for your time. I know I've been a headache for the two of you, but I appreciate you guys, and looking forward to dropping off those pajamas
Yes,
on the 30th.
Ruby, thank you so much. I know everyone's looking forward to it.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tiffany, and thank you, Raquel. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great show, everybody. Great show. Enjoyed it. It's a sensitive subject to talk about, but something that needs to be, like they say, stop the silence. So, and then it impacts so many people. It's not just the woman; it can impact the men, but most of all, the children. That's who it touches me with the children. So,
right.
Definitely. Just as a woman, we deal with a lot of things, and this was just very informative and very, just very bringing the awareness to people who just don't know that there are resources out there. There is help out there for them, and we really don't have to stay in certain situations, men also. So this was just very, I love it. I love everything that we do. This is just another one of those things that we're just giving back and helping other people. I'm here for all of it.
Right. And this is another time where, I know I always say, well, we're only going to be on for 15 minutes, and we tell our stuff, but when it goes long, that means it's just a great show. So once again, good show, Lampvicious crew. Once again, thanks to the Houston Area Women's Center, the two representatives, Raquel Fatik and Tiffany Gardner. I don't want Raquel getting mad at me if I say her last name wrong. So, but we're going to share everything on the website, from their website on our social media platform. So be on the lookout for that. And if you have questions, there's also, they mentioned the hotline and different ways to reach them. So it's a lot of information, a lot of good stuff.
And don't forget, big thing, the pajama drive is still going on. This is the last week. So if, you're hopefully watching this podcast, people are inspired. If it's $5, $10, or if you want to go buy the pajamas, I know with COVID-19, a lot of people are still, hesitant about shopping. So a lot of people do Amazon. As Raquel was saying with Houston Area Women's Center, that's fine. But you can go to our website, www.lampitup.org. And you hit the donate now. Again, we're taking donations. We're going to have a drop off, I believe, still with Mr. Francis. He said at the Applebee's on 18th Street and 610 on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do have some new pajamas and you want to drop them off, we'll be there Sunday on October 25th.
Right. Looking at around noontime, but I'll make sure I put the time out there so everybody will know.
Okay. And I see Miss Patricia's asking for the link for donation. So we'll definitely be sure to post that. We're accepting it, again, through our website. And we appreciate everybody's generosity.
Yep. I'm typing it in for her right now.
Okay. I forgot to mention too, I think Raquel and Tiffany are in the back. I actually got to meet the CEO, Emily Whitehurst. She's very, very nice. So that's another great person over at Hawk. Just building that partnership with you guys. Actually got a chance to speak with, interviewed her for my nonprofit class, leadership class. So good job.
CEO, you said?
The CEO of Houston Area Women's Center, her name is Emily Whitehurst.
All right.
Got to meet her about a week or so ago. Very nice, cool. Very informative, very strong. So definitely, again, we love working with Hawk.
That's good. Raquel and Tiffany, we're gonna put in a good word for y'all. That we got connections with the CEO now, so it's all good. All right. Any other final words?
That's it. Again, I can't emphasize, keep those donations come in. We want to make sure those children are taken care of and have a great fall festival.
Awesome. I think Ambitious, her internet connectivity came out. So I'm going to head out as well. So once again, great show. Thanks once again to Houston Area Women's Center. And please go to lampitup.org if you're looking to donate. to do something special for some of the kids that are in the center at Hawk, get them some pajamas and make them feel good for October 30th when we get to hand them out and give it to them.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you. All right.